Hey guys, it's Batran again. So I wanted to show you guys how I create my orchid pots. And they're actually my way of doing things is actually very similar to a lot of people's way. I have bought several orchid pots from different places, but they are quite expensive. And I believe that something like this, something about like 4.5 inch wide, is probably about 80 cents or 60 cents depending on where you get them from, and they are quite pricey when it comes to shipping. So I do have a supplier about maybe 30 minutes from here that I can actually go and pick up the containers, but they are 80 cents each of these, and they get really pricey when I have quite a bit of orchids. So what I did was I got these deli containers and I purchased them in a restaurant supplier store. So they were about $37 for 220 or 250 of these. And if you look at these, they're actually really sturdy. They're thick and they're see-through. They're just the perfect size for a regular size phal, or pretty much most of my orchids will fit in here. There are some that are quite big and they don't fit in here, but most of them fit in here perfectly, and it's just really great. But of course you can see they don't have any holes. And I wanted to, of course I forgot to mention that at $37 for a whole box, I believe they come out to be about 14 cents each. And they come with the lids too, which I don't use the lids. But I wanted to show you guys just how I create the holes. So what I use is a soldering tool. So I purchased this, I believe it was maybe $14 from Amazon, and you can see it gets really hot. So these are in Celsius. This is actually the lowest setting. This is 200 degrees Celsius. They get really, really hot. And of course, when I was doing this video, what happened was my dad came over and was talking to me, and I forgot about it, and it was sitting on top of my iPhone charger. Yeah, that was not very good because it melted the plastic, and that is really not good. So watch what you guys are doing. And what I have here, you can see, is actually a not soaking wet, but a semi-wet piece of just paper towel. Now most people actually use a damped what is it called, a yellow sponge, a damp sponge of any kind. And what happens is when you're using this and there are things that are sticking on it, such as metal or in this case plastic, you would wipe it on here, and the difference in temperature actually removes the plastic and the paper towel will pull it away. So it's actually a really clean way to, an easy way to clean these guys. So I'll show you how I do this. This is actually just a regular attachment that comes with it. Let me see if I can focus in. Maybe not. So I'll do holes on these, and see the way that they're tapered. You can actually do smaller holes or bigger holes. There are many attachments that come with this. I think there were about 6 different attachments, but I just used this one because it was just the best one I find. So I would do it right here in the middle, and I go all the way, and I kind of push at the edge a little bit because I do want the bottom holes especially to be smaller. To be bigger, just so more water can go through. The side holes don't have to be that large. So I put it at only 200 degrees Celsius, by the way, the lowest setting, and I just go around. And this is such an easy way to do things. I have another way of doing things where it's a little bit harder. I would stand on next to my stove, and I would heat up. I have a gas stove, and I would heat up say a screw or a giant nail. And then I would go in and do the same thing as what I'm doing here. The only problem is the nail doesn't hold, it only holds heat to a certain amount, and then when you're doing this, the heat is then transferred to the container in order to melt the container, and of course you would have to go back and reheat the nail over and over again. And it got to be such a chore that it was just really not I really didn't look forward to doing it. So you can add as many holes as you wish. Make sure your fingers aren't right here where you're poking it. I think these are fine. Sometimes what I do is I put more holes, but I don't think that's absolutely necessary. You can put as many holes as you wish. And I'm pretty much done with this. So, here, what I'll do, I'll show you guys how to clean this. I can focus. You see the sizzling? And all the stuff that's on it, all the plastic that's melted onto the tip is actually being removed. Make sure you don't put it at the same spot because it will get really, really hot. And this is a good way to remove it if you just don't want to get a yellow sponge or any sponge. I don't have a sponge, which is why I use this, but I would recommend that you just get a sponge because the sponge is actually thicker and you won't have to worry about it, you know, touching your skin. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any questions, let me know.